Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 2 of the anime series DanMachi, or Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? I absolutely love that title. And we're effectively picking up right where we left off, with the goddess herself, Hestia, being very much reluctant and apprehensive in how much she wants to reveal to Bel, her one true familia, about the leaps and bounds in power and progress he's made in that sort of last-ditch effort in the previous episode of, getting out the frustration of being made fun of by that cat from Loki Familia and all this kind of stuff. Apparently, we find out through her sort of internal monologuing that he has a particular skill set she doesn't understand and is not familiar with. And she doesn't want to reveal this to him. She ends up sort of erring on the side of supporting him, though, and telling him that he has made such great progress and leaps and bounds in his wanting to become stronger, which is all fueled by his sort of romantic feelings toward eyes of Loki Familia and everything, as we saw. She saved his life effectively, and now this is what is giving him this drive. And Hestia is not thrilled about that, but she's still very much trying to be supportive and, tell him essentially, she's kind of downplaying his growth spurt, as she puts it, of this progress, as this is not going to be the norm. But she is trying to be very supportive to him because, as she says later in the episode, this is her one true familia. This is her one true believer and somebody who has supported her. And she really wants, as a goddess that doesn't really have earthly powers, she wants to do something to return the favor for Bel, effectively. And we see that there is this monster philia organizing going on between all of the gods and goddesses. And mostly we're meeting a lot of sort of contemporaries to Hestia. We have Freya, the goddess of beauty. You have Loki, of course, that makes her appearance. And Hephaestus, which is one that, Hestia basically has made a deal with to create. She's a forger, a goddess of forging. And she, basically wants to ask of Hephaestus to make Bel a new dagger, a sort of empowered dagger, to go along with the progress he's made. And that's really, freaking awesome. I love the dynamic between Hestia. She's such an adorable and lovable character. And, finding out that she has such a small stature in this episode as well, especially as compared to the other goddesses, just makes her that much more kawaii and adorable. But you see that there is some sort of, antagonizing going on between, for example, Loki herself. She very much looks down upon, no pun intended, Hestia, and they're arguing, and there's a pissing contest of, whose boobs are bigger, and that kind of thing. And we're also, as I say, introduced to Freya, who seems to be a very malevolent benefactor in this episode. Seems she's the one operating behind the scenes. It is her machinations that probably, have put this skill set into Bel, and she's observing him. He was somebody that caught her eye. And we see there's this shadowy meeting after sort of this, gala event where all the goddesses meet, and that's where we have effectively Freya, Hestia, Loki. They have their throwdown in Hephaestus. They're all, decked out in gowns and everything. But after this, you have effectively Freya meeting with Loki in secrecy, and she's not coming out and naming Bel as the person in particular, but that is the emphasis in this episode. She was only at this particular gala event to sort of feel out something. She doesn't specify, but she's eagle-eyeing Hestia at that point. And then in the dialogue, we find that, this person who caught her interest, Bel, effectively, there's something that she's manipulating and she's putting to the test and maybe playing around with Bel in particular, or maybe it has something to do with playing around with Hestia. It's not entirely clear what exactly her machinations are, but she has made deals with Loki, and you see Eyes is even there, and she notices Bel running past at that point when, effectively Freya's kind of leaving the little impromptu meeting. And it just seems like there's a lot going on behind the scenes that is very intriguing and very monotonous and malevolent. Because, of course, as we find out more about this monster philia sort of thing, it's very sort of like Gladiator, a Colosseum, and they have all these dungeon-based creatures coming and being fought in front of crowds and everything. There is this giant white ape, almost looks like a cybernetic ape to a point, that is freed effectively by seemingly Freya. And she casts like a spell on wanted to follow Hestia no matter what. And Hestia at this point has, you know, sort of tried to have a day out with Bel, or a date. She's very much emphasizing her romantic feelings toward him, wanting to do something for him and give him a great day and all this stuff. And he, you know, she's kind of miffed at the fact that it also coincides with his looking for Cyr, the girl from the pub and everything. He went back and paid for the food that he ran out on the other night and everything. And some of the other matrons of the bar, her friends and contemporaries, I guess, are, you know, making the excuse, can they, you know, can he basically bring Cyr's wallet to her? She's going to be at this monsterphilia. And you're not quite sure, you know, is this part of the malevolent machinations or not? Is it they're just trying to set Cyr up with Bel? Because she's very much smitten with him. You can tell when you see her in the episode. And so, again, you're not quite sure, does this have to do with Freya's malevolent machinations or not? But the episode ends with a grand crescendo of them being chased by this giant ape. And finally, you know, Bel decides to man up and try to protect his goddess. His dagger, you know, he hasn't been given the new one that's been sort of godly empowered by Hestia as yet. His dagger shatters when he tries to fight this beast. He gets thrown toward a wall and he grabs Hestia's arm and they run off. And finally, we see a level of heroism, the likes of which you wouldn't have expected from Bel as we've seen him thus far. He basically becomes very much a ward to self-sacrifice. He, you know, closes a gate and chains it, locks the chain so that Hestia will not be attacked. He wants to buy her time to escape by facing off against this gigantic creature, and now he's weaponless, and she's left to, like, plead and call after him, and that's the cliffhanger ending right there as he's going to face this creature. What the hell's going to happen next is what's going through my head. And as I say, the entire episode, from the hilarity to the action to the drama sequences where Bel's very much, you know, mulling over the fact that he can't purchase weapons and he wants to upgrade the weapons he has, and he meets this guy who gives him some free items because he has supported them and they want to return the favor, much as Hestia has done in the episode. So all told, like I say, it builds to this crescendo cliffhanger of he's become very heroic and selfless and wanting to protect his goddess, and he's got all these other mitigating factors, malevolent factors, trying to manipulate him, and maybe as well as Hestia, or by extension Hestia. And it's crazy. Of course, you find out from Hephaestus, when first Hestia wants to make the deal and having her forge Bel a weapon, that she was once part of the Hephaestus, you know, familia, and they kicked her out because I guess she was, you know, consuming all their food or using all their resources. And then she came back pleading, you know, broke and downtrodden. Can you give me money? I need money and all this stuff. And so it's very much, as you see through the dialogue with Hephaestus and Hestia later, she's trying to change her ways. She's trying to become more a true goddess of value. And her one sort of chief way of doing that is supporting Bel, the one who has supported her. So I can't wait to see where this episode, you know, the next episode, I should say, picks up with this story. If there's going to be any other characters intervening and being introduced to help Bel in his fight with this creature, or if Hestia will give him the newly forged dagger, you know, with godly powers and such. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you've seen episode 2 of DanMachi, what you thought of it, and if you were as compelled and just, you know, blown back by how awesome this second episode was, or if it fell flat for you. Anything goes in the comments below, as long as it doesn't contain spoilers, as I always ask people not to, you know, if they're going to speculate and such like that, don't post anything if you know something from the source material and such. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the episode, can't wait for the next, and otherwise that'll be pretty much it from me on this. So I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.